We are now with Kyle from Falcon's PH. Kyle, how are you feeling coming into this match?
Not quite good,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Everything okay? Everyone well rested for today's match?
Yeah, everything well prepared right now, and we've reset yesterday of the losses.
That's a very quick reset.
Yeah.
Are you used to doing this type of thing, or?
Yep, it's very easy to us to quick reset, and yeah, let's focus on the match.
Focus on the match. What's your mentality coming into this match? It's a third placer, it's a bronze match. Obviously, it's not the situation that you would have wanted, but are you still going to be super try hard for this match as well?
Yeah, of course, it's a big money for us. This battle for third is really important to us.
And it's kind of like a rematch to a certain grand finals. M5.
Yeah.
Are you expecting Onic to, try to find their revenge today?
Yeah, I think so, but we didn't give easily.
Okay, they're not going to give it easily. So what happened actually? We didn't get to talk after your loss yesterday. What do you think that Yangon did better than you guys yesterday?
I think what happened yesterday, we have a lot of mistake that take our losses, and for sure we need to bounce back to reset this coming matches. Yeah.
So you mentioned about mistakes, Kyle. What mistakes are we talking about? Was it execution that was off? Communication that was off?
I think it's the execution. Maybe we have doubt. We didn't play our game, that game 5, and our discipline is not off that game 5. So yeah, that's why we lost.
Okay, so the discipline just wasn't there, and I'm sure you had a quick reset last night. And if we're talking about the meta, Kyle, what do you think about the meta? Do you like the meta?
For me, I think if I'm gonna rate it, I'm gonna rate 8 out of 10 because it's like a weird meta right now, and it's like heroes that weird heroes, but it's gonna you can execute right that what you call that, any teams that you can execute the hero that weird. Yeah.
Okay, so it opens up really weird heroes.
Yeah.
If I had to ask you if there's something you didn't like about the meta, what would you say?
I think the hero of the tank. There's so many tank heroes that coming to the tournaments that we didn't see in our practice.
Okay, so you were surprised as well.
Yes.
And obviously, it sucks to be a jungler in that case, right? So, speaking of jungler, you are going to have a jungler matchup once again against Kyrie. Kyle, give us something. Give us a message to Kyrie. Other than good luck, have fun, give the best show. What else is there?
Yeah, I think it's same. I'm going to say to Kyrie, good luck and have fun. And
Nothing else? You don't want to say anything
nothing
else?
Because Kyrie is my good friend, and we always talk about in outside the game. Yeah, we're friends.
Okay, so they're friends outside and in the game, so just good luck and have fun.
Onic is our friend and best friend.
Oh, it's friend and best friend.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to see the friends and best friends hit at it in the bronze match. Thank you so much for this interview, Kyle. We're going to throw it over back to you guys.
I thought we were going to get some trash talk here. I mean, friends and best friends. I don't need to see you guys skipping together, holding hands to start this third place match. We need pride on the line, baby. Come on, keep it together. No, I love the fact that these two are competing, but also keeping it respectful because they know they didn't get to where they wanted to be, but there's still so much to play for. He mentioned that $100,000. Not just Team Falcon's PH are going to be playing for it. It's Onic as well, who yesterday the results did not go the way that they thought. At least Team Falcons clawed it back to a game 5. Onic lost 3-0, so they have yet to get a win in the last 2 days. They will desperately hope to get off to a good start, and the person that might be the most important to make sure they have that stability is Kelra. We caught up with him and Eterna earlier on.
We're now with Kelra for our third placer. Kelra, how has everyone reset after yesterday?
Just sleep and eat.
Sleep and eat, but everyone's okay.
No.
No, not okay.
Because this is the second time we play Battle for Third.
Yeah, that's right. But you're under a different banner. How does it feel to be back here again, Kelra?
So sad for me because I already said last year, way back at EWC 2025, that I don't want to play again in Battle for Third.
But here you are.
Yeah, no choice.
No choice. Are you gonna give everything though?
Yeah.
Still? You still want to win?
Still 100,000 USD.
Okay. So money's on the line now.
Yeah.
Is pride also on the line, Calvin?
Yeah.
Well, what pride? Can you talk to us about the pride?
About the pride, I want to prove that even though we didn't reach the finals, I want to prove that I can still play with PH team.
Okay. And I think you can do it.
I think.
You
so.
think 100% out of 10?
Yeah,
Yeah.
still 100%.
Still 100%. Okay. But after playing with, an ID team finally here at MSC, what do you think is lacking from the ID region?
I think the communication and sometimes communication.
So it's just
That's all.
communication. Do you think mentality is an issue for the Indonesian
I think
teams?
no.
No.
The only lacking is communication.
Okay, so the only thing that's lacking is communication. And technically, I know, again, this is kind of weird to ask you, but technically this is a rematch of M5. So did you hear anything about that from the rest of your teammates?
Yeah, expectation versus reality.
Expectation versus reality, what does that mean?
Because it should be the grand finals, not in Battle for Third.
It should be the grand finals, not battle for third.
Yeah.
But of course, you're coming in with a lot of energy again for this battle of third place. You mentioned about your pride as well. So Kelra, with that in mind, do you have a message to your opponents here in the third place match?
For my opponent, still good luck and have fun. And let's give the viewers a very good match.
I heard you guys are best friends. Is it true?
Yeah.
Best of friends?
Best friends
Best
forever.
friends. Thank you, Kelra. Good luck for your third placer.
Thank
We're
you.
now going to throw it over back to you guys.
Does seem like there's a little bit of more relaxation, although Kelra has always given us those fun responses, and he continues to do so. Battle for third on the line here with Onic and Team Falcons PH, and I think, Renmar, this is a matchup that has a lot of implications. We said it before, but for a third-place match, there is so much to fight for still.
Yeah, I hope as we progress into this match, you see the players getting more hyped up, forgetting that it's a battle for third, thinking that it's a grand finals. They bring out the best in each other.
They truly do. And I think if we were talking about whether this match is just going to be a show or not, I think no matter what, we're going to have some great games here.
Yeah.
Whether it's for third, whether it's grand finals, these two teams are always going to bring us some entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting to the knockout stages, having $100,000 guaranteed, but then in third and fourth place, having the ability to double that prize pool, that has got to be motivation. And one of the things I love about MLBB, and we have told stories behind the scenes, what these players have been able to do back in their home countries with this prize money, it's life-changing.
Yeah, a bunch of them have their own small businesses, have set up homes for their families, have fulfilled long-held promises of mom, dad, I'm going to build a house for you, I'm going to get you a car. Extra 100,000
Come
G's
on.
for the team, that means the world.
It's huge. I mean, it is, what is it? That's practically 2 MPL championships right there for your
Somewhat,
team.
yeah.
That's 2 home league championship wins in just one game. All the work they put in for a whole season essentially is cooked down to this one game right here.
Well, so far in this tournament, adaptation has been the test, but it is also now the requirement to move forward. Team Onic and Team Falcons PH have not had the roads they expected. Expectation versus reality is the theme for this third place. But when it comes to the club championship, when it comes to an extra $100,000, there is so much on the line in this third place match. So you got to pay attention. You got to give your best. One series could be the difference between life-changing money or going home still wanting more.
Good morning, my friends, MLBB fans all around the world. MSC 2026 at the Esports World Cup is almost coming to a close. We have one matchup before we head into our grand final. As you've heard on our panel, this one is for the third and fourth place. But trust me, none of these two teams are going to be playing it easy. It's a big Indo-Philippines matchup. And Rose, we've seen this one a million and plus times.
Yes, you know what, Milosh, you are right. Because this is not just a IDPH matchup. This is a rematch of the M5 Grand Finals. And if we remember correctly, that was the matchup where Falcons came out on top.
That's some sort of bragging rights to play with, right? You want to continue on with that story, at least here in third place at MSC. And for Onic, they've been here before, even in MSC last year. They want to go beyond that. They want to at least hold on to that third place.
Oh yeah, now the question is, who will actually get the bragging right of number 3 here at MSC at EWC? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Team Falcons Philippines! Battling in one final match where they are pouring their everything. No longer for the trophy nor the championship, but for $250,000 US and all the bragging rights in the world of MLBB. As this is the M5 Grand Finals rematch. Can the Falcons glide their way through the Sky Kings once again?
Oh, they're coming in hot and a lot of energy behind it. This is what we want to see here in our third place matchup. So please join me in welcoming their opponents. Onic! The Sky Kings find themselves for 2 consecutive years between Cloud 6 and 7 at MSC. And whilst the trophy is out of their reach, the cash prize and the bragging rights are still up for grabs at the MSC stage. From the gold lane to the jungle and everything in between, these two rosters are incredibly familiar with one another, including in the moves themselves. My God, dancing steps before a third place game.
Hold on. Can we do something different for this third placer match? Instead of a handshake, I would like a little bit of a dance battle. Kelra, Flap, let us meet in the middle as the rest of the players take their seats.
As
Kelra
you're
and
used to
Flap.
it, please come on into the middle.
A little bit of a dance battle. Oh yeah, they're going at it, guys. They're going at it.
Yeah!
There you go. The pride of the Filipinos in the third placer match. All is fun and all is well here in MSC at EWC 2026. Milosh, this will be one hell of a match and it's going to be super duper fun. I cannot wait. Let us show it over to the desk.
Well, what a pleasant surprise to start our day off with a little dance battle. I didn't know that was a part of the competition at EWC, but I think Kelra, Flap, they might have just won it.
Yeah, Trex, you wanted entertainment, we got it right away.
We got to start things off a little light before things get intense, obviously.
Yeah.
Show the love and competition between these two teams.
The truth is, they're shaking off some emotion. You could tell that they went through the heartbreak yesterday, and now they've got to bounce back. It's like doing the ultimate exit interview. You have to come back on stage after losing, after failing what you wanted to get, and still show up and perform, still put on a smiling face. So I like that they're leaning into it, but also choosing a different approach, because yesterday's seriousness in this meta didn't quite work. So they know they've got to adapt, they've got to take a different route.
Yeah, so far I think they're just slowly peeling away the layers of the onion that is this match. There's personal pride. They want to get past that hurdle of, oh, we're not in the final, so let's see what we can do for ourselves. Then that steps up. It's team pride. It's org pride until the creeping reality hits them like a truck. It's country pride. It's Philippines and Indonesia.
And sometimes when you get down to it, in a sport, when there's so much on the line, the only thing you could do as a player, Trex, is just focus on the game. You have to put all that to the side and show up and play how you normally play.
And if there's any players that can do that, I think it's them right here. Already, I mean, look at my guy. He's locked in. They're ready. Everything else is gone at this moment. The fans are invisible. It's nothing but them and their opponents in front of them. And you got to think, these two teams right here, they were prepared probably to face each other. in the grand finals.
Just in a different setting.
They were very prepared for this moment. They know exactly what they are about to go up against.
And I hope we still get to see surprises in this MSC of upsets and surprises. Because last year, there was one big surprise that Onic, the Indonesian Onic, pulled up against Onic Philippines, wherein we got to see Kiboy play an Estes. Can we get that kind of level of surprise again for this battle for third? I hope so.
Well, it is going to be a matchup of stars. You could see it in the sign. I feel like Maui maybe is he telling the crowd all of our pre-notes? Because that sign had Gold Standard versus Bulletproof Marco. That's what I was going to talk about here, because the gold lane is a big matchup between two stars, but also two keys to victory for these teams that they have to somehow enable when so much of the focus has been on the EXP lane and the jungle.
Yeah,
I think these are two gold laners that have gone down in the history of MLBB, and to see them face off today, I mean, we're in for something. And every lane speaks on that. EXP, Kyle versus Kyrie in jungle, mid lane. I mean, all of these players, all 10 of them are veterans.
Now let's see what happens in the draft, because we saw how important the draft was for Falcons when they slowly started to realize how they can pick away at Yangon Galacticos up until Yangon Galacticos got the best of them in game number 5. Meanwhile, Onic, it seems like they just couldn't figure out team spirit yesterday. Let's see if Onic knows Falcons than they did Spirit in the previous matchup. Flying Cloud, though, does not bode well for Falcons. They have no wins in that map this MSC.
And you know, it's interesting because they are on red side as well, and Onic is a team that does well notoriously on red side, but also on blue side. So this is a squad that is going to be maybe playing a little bit out of their comfort zone, a little bit out of their strengths in comparison to their matchups. But these bans will tell a story. The Selena prioritizing the Barats and the Atlas. That forces also the Fanny and the Freya on the side of Falcons with one more to go.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of bans, it has been so interesting seeing them evolve, because every single day, every single matchup, depending on what team they are going against, each team decides and opts for different options. And the Selena and the Barats, I feel like, are the new addition in a game 1 set of bans, especially against Falcons. The Selena has been a problem for a lot of teams.
Yeah, Trex, earlier you were mentioning the importance of each lane matchup. I think we have to look with EXP first. Lutpi is still undefeated on his Uranus. Meanwhile, his counterpart in the lane, Flap, is undefeated on the Esmeralda. So Falcons decides to respect the Uranus and give the Marcel. But remember, the Valentina is still open, and with Marcel giving shields to the lowest health member of his team as his passive, they might just lock in a surprise Valentina Esmeralda right away.
Esmeralda could be good along with that Valentina. Barat's also still open. Harara
He is
also...
But I like the Harara, though.
Onic.
I mean, not Barat's, Belleric. The Beast, my bad. Belleric also still open, and then the Harara as well, which I feel like some of these picks, as we've gotten farther in the tournament, haven't been as guaranteed win. We've been seeing the Harara lose here and there, so maybe it's a smarter idea to round out that front line before you start locking in those damage picks like you were saying, Renmar.
Yeah, but Falcons decide to go up against that. They leave the Valentina open. I think they're expecting the Valentina won't get picked up by Onic, as you usually want to pair up heroes such as the Kimi with this Marcel, sometimes the Eve, so that you get a longer box of lockdown so your opponents can't get away. Falcons, I love this Esmeralda pickup. The Hirara this early on, I feel like this is just a lot of respect onto Kyrie and the capabilities of that hero. Again, a lot of players, pro or normies like us, say Hirara is broken.
And she doesn't require the same level of execution to be effective, and those iframes are proving to be big either baits, big either opportunities to go in and get that extra kill and get out.
Yeah.
They're things that I feel like now, after an entire tournament of seeing, we thought Ling might compete. Fanny's banned much too often and requires such a high skill ceiling to perform. And Harara seems like by far the most standard best pick, and that's why we're seeing the grab there. But they do take the Valentina away if that was a choice that Falcons wanted to go to later on.
And this pick right here with the Harley has become the answer to the Harara. It's become the possibility of defeating it. And the big thing is it can keep its range, right? It can target down. It can go against it in the Turtle or Lord pit. But I do think there's also a big risk with this pick. If it takes a big hit early on in the game in the first 5 minutes, you don't see much action until late game at that point. Don't get me wrong, Harley still does have a decent late game. Once that Holy Crystal, once that 4th or 5th item gets locked in, there's possibility for damage and still kill pressure in late game. There's early game pressure, but again, if it gets a death or two, you're kind of locked in for only late game possibilities.
Yeah, which is why you see the roam pick up on the glue for Team Falcons here, because if you go back just a few months ago with all of the Harleys and Leomords and Suyos that we saw in the jungle, glue roam is hot commodity because of how quickly you can help clear the mid lane, and it encourages an early invade after you clear the first wave in mid, whether you're going to go to the orange buff or purple buff, but most of the time teams love to go to the purple buff. Surprising here though that Falcons are reading Onic as the possibility of picking up a Ruby, so that might be a little bit of a teaser in the mindset of Falcons, wherein they might be a little bit more close range and clumped up together. One pick they have to watch out for here in the gold lane is the Granger of Kelra. That pairs very well with the Marcel, and together with the Harley scales up way too quick.
Well, I think I was first going to ask this question before we saw the ban come out. Claude, do you respect the ban? Because that's what Super Marco did yesterday to start turning the games around. He had that moment where they dove him, got the turtle, got the shield back up, and then turned it back into a 2-0 win, and that won them the game. The ban comes out immediately from Onic.
And what makes that so interesting is earlier on in this tournament, the Claude kind of fell off. And it just goes to show how much of a comfort pick this can be for some of the gold laners still in this tournament. Even a hero that a lot of other teams couldn't pull off, Super Marco is just a menace on. So very well done by Onic, I think, calling that out. Eudora also goes down, which could have been a great stiff arm to this Harley. One of the few heroes who can quick stun it still. Falcons now, all bans off the table. They're on the gun for first pick and second phase.
I think they save up their mid lane pick for later. They need to see the gold laner of Onic get picked up first. I think just go ahead and pick up your mid... Oh wait, not mid laner. Excuse me, gold laner. There you go. Clint is the pickup for Falcons. They need a little bit more range. So it makes sense why they ban out the Sora and the Ruby. You get the Glue and the Esmeralda together in the front line. Of course, Herrera always puts herself in the front line. That's just the nature of the assassin hero. And you need something in the back. Now, the mid lane pick of Falcons will either be something static with a strong box, such as an Eve, or some really great crowd control to help out the Clint, like the Lo Yi or the Vexana.
We have been seeing Falcons enjoy picking up that Farza. Could be
That
another
too.
one.
Yes.
Very something similar range. They've opted out of the two big, backline mages with the Yve or the Farza. They have opted for the Farza sometimes, the burst damage that it supplies. They could use Shred, though, with the Yve. I think because they already have so much burst on their side, could definitely be the option. The Granger gets locked in from the side of Onic. We saw how well Kelra was able to play that before. Another hero that other teams aren't using, but Kelra is making it a monster.
Yeah, again, perfect pairing with the Marcel, and I think this is time. You mentioned Farsa, that would be great. Lo Yi wouldn't be that bad either, but if you're looking at comforts, I think I'm going to have to double down on what you said, Trex. The Farsa looks good here.
Lo Yi, I was thinking it. The only risk is the Harley against it, but against with their lineup, Jushin's still open. Jushin's still open.
I thought they'd want to get more long-range burst and poke, but they're doubling down on crowd control in the center of the map. That's interesting.
Crowd control has been key in this meta. It's been the thing that has been a menace to so many teams. This is a crowd controlled meta at its core.
Well, there was a lot of bans targeting the EXP lane, and we have a chance now to see Phoveus let through, and that'll be interesting. Can he do enough on the Onic? We know how the Marcel has been dominant early, has lost a couple times late, but this is Onic and Team Falcons PH, their last chance to make their final statement before M8. It all comes down to this, $100,000 on the line for this third place match, but more so than that, the pride of the Philippines and Indonesia, expectation versus reality. Let's kick off our finals day here for MSC and send it over to our casters, Naisu and Leo.
After many matches and almost 2 weeks that lead us to this point, it's a third place match, a battle of pride, but also a whopping $100,000 between third and fourth place finishes here. We'll find out who gets the victory. It's me, Nice to Leo, bringing this best of 5. And later on, the grand final is going to be amazing too, but this one is a rematch, Leo, all the way back from M5.
That was almost 3 years ago where they took it all the way to 7 games. Here tonight, they might be able to take it all the way to 5 games.
Yeah.
We're expecting a slobber knocker between these former champions of their respective regions. Flap here gets caught out, flickering through. Haji with the flare looking for the choke down. Lifts up Keyboy and puts him down just as quickly. Kyle with the steal. Oh my lord, a minute in. Attempted Grand Theft Purple. Can Kyrie stop him? Oh, he does.
He got it. All right, Kyrie secured it. Kyle's going to be able to get away here. It was interesting too in the draft because if I remember correctly, yesterday it was multiple times. Oh, hold on. All right, flicker burned. Keyboy should be, yeah, he's fine. He's on the Marcel. He's got enough mobility, but they went with this first pick, Marcel, who's kind of slipped through some of the drafts. He's been either banned out or teams have gone and picked him up. But it was Onic that picked up the Herrera multiple times throughout yesterday's
Whoa. Speaking of the Herrera, Kyle here put down to a quarter of his health. Ogwin stopping the backup from coming through. It's not just Onic who has this identity that they're forcing through from yesterday's bouts. Even Falcons, you see them play the Esmeralda once again, the glue in Ogwin's hands that, 2 games in a row dismantled Yangon Galacticos' Yangon Yam, or the Burmese Ube. And then they still have Haji on the very high prio Zushin, who in the hands of Kaiser yesterday was the finisher. He was the MVP for sure of game number 5. We see here Haji in trouble. Crimson flare back, and that's one major tool out for this turtle.
Yeah. They want to fight for this first objective here. Some tools already used. Sans has his own beacon that he can play into. So they've got control around this turtle. I'm not sure if Falcons really wants to do too much. Kyle's trying to get his purple buff, but they may be forced into a fight here.
Oh, Kyle secures his own purple. But then again, the retribution was short. Kyrie secures. Now Ogun flickers back. No harm, no foul. No casualties just yet, but Onic gets the big one.
Yeah, they get the objective. Looks like taking a little break here before this. Again, no first blood given just yet. And this is kind of the nature, man, of the compositions that we've seen, throughout MSC. It's like this push and pull factor. And a lot of that has been because of where the jungle meta is and it's fallen into. I mean, we heard Kyle share some of his thoughts leading into this matchup, exactly how he feels about the jungle meta.
I'd say that's partially true, but half of that truth, to make a better picture, is it's just these 2 teams.
Yeah.
It's rare that you see a full-on Titans of Southeast Asia clash in MSC. Look back at the last 2 weeks, Joseph. Look back at the last 2 weeks.
I'm looking back.
You see Yangon Galacticos with their own little flavor, Team Spirit
with their own,
with the Dragon Davai playstyle, and then you have the likes of Vamos and Pro who are just so aggressive. This is the first time we're seeing 2 full-on, I'd say it's safe to say now, macro-centric lineups clash.
Yeah.
So that's why we're seeing such a surgical first 2 minutes.
I mean, again, they came into this matchup in high spirits. Got to see some of the antics on stage as they both came out, of course. But, one thing's for sure, in the game, in this best of 5, they're going to lay it on the line here. They're going to give it their all. We already talked about how it's that pride factor, but also the difference in terms of money. I mean, $100,000, man. In Philippine pesos, I think that's around 6 million pesos. In IDR,
don't even get me started.
I think like almost 2 billion, something like that. It's like almost 2 billion.
It's life-changing money.
It's life-changing money even at this point.
And the fact that they can keep the brevity, harken back to their brotherhood, harken back to how far they've come and how many times they've played with each other. They decide to dance in their entrance. Like, that's just the kind of athletes and just young men they are, how much they love MLBB, while still acknowledging the stakes.
Yeah. I mean, they did mention that, again, off of the Land of Dawn, they're the best of friends, right? It's always sometimes, I would say, looking at yesterday's interviews, that's one thing why I love, when we get a chance to see Kid Bomba, for example, talk, the way he speaks and the way he kind of, even his messages to the opponents, a little bit more than the good luck, have fun, that we see. But of course, when it comes down to the in-game, that's where you really see it kind of come to fruition here between both these teams. And as we wait a little bit longer to jump into this one, that first game really kind of sets the pace of the entire series. But also, if you look at what you know, for example, Falcons had to go through yesterday. You know, this sometimes in some cases a reverse sweep where it's you're down 0-2 and you got to come back to it. So it looks like we are back into the game. Let's go to jump back into this one. We're just under 3 minutes into this one, this first match again in this best of 5.
A minute and a half till Turtle spawns lower quarter. Not much of a distance. Flap and Lutpi have to go through. And if I'm reading the map correctly, I think Kyle might try to go ahead and play their side of the map a little more, since that first attempt at Grant the Purple kind of cost them.
Yeah, it didn't happen, right? But I feel like too, when you just have the Harara, you're kind of allowed to do that. She's just got so many ways to move across the map and kind of avoid things. You know, it's like you're kind of self-reliant in yourself. Although the most successful Harara gameplays that we've seen is because of your team being able to support that, right? So there's this kind of case where Harley probably does that. Oh, Flap. Okay, he's burning the flicker. So he's got that, but Harley essentially does the same thing. You know, you're pretty self-sufficient to be able to move around the map. You don't have to rely too much on your team until, you know, obviously you get to that mid or late game.
Yep, they have their stats skewed to one side slightly more on a spectrum of junglers between mobility and, you know, single-handed burst damage. Haji and Ogwin holding down the fort, stopping the rest of Onic from actually crossing over. So both teams respecting their boundaries, their jurisdiction when it comes to stealing away and taking out resources from the other. About 20 seconds until the turtle spawns, lower quarter. This is as safe as it gets. Again, not more than a 500 gold swing either way.
Yeah, Leo, this is about as safe as it gets. It's like you're playing, there's your side of the map, here's the line. We're drawing it, we're gonna stay on this side, you guys stay on that side. I mean, imagine, you know, 4.5 minutes in, no kills, no first bloods. Just that turtle is what they're fighting for. This one definitely looks like it's going to be resulting into at least this 4v4 as both gold laners still up on that top side of the map. Fighting for the second turtle. Luffy's going to jump in here.
Uh-oh, Keyboy running through. Haji bursted down, forced the Crimson Flare back, and Suns helped Kyrie score the kill via the Deadly Magics. Now Luffy jumping up. Ogwin finds them out. In comes Kelra. Warning shots. Finds another kill on Ogwin after a golden hour. Revitalize, making sure that the rest of Onic are topped up, and in comes Lutpi. Finding a couple more. Down goes Kyle, down goes Flap, and that's all she wrote. Unless Marco wants more flying clouds. In come Haji. Looking for that choke up. Suns will be able to save himself. In comes Keyboy. The jump back and the flicker will not save Marco. Wanton mayhem on Falcon's side of the map, resulting in 6 free kills plus the turtle for Onic.
They just got a whole lot, man. We were just talking about how nothing had happened in those first, few minutes of the game, and then all of a sudden, boom. Look at this, 3,000 lead, you got 6 kills plus a turtle.
Joseph, a whole lot is an understatement. That was a metric ton of advantage that Onic have scored in that minute-long sequence. Again, one more look. Maybe the fact that they got the mount was the sign of, okay, maybe we should try.
Yeah, I mean, again, even fighting in between the two turrets here, I thought Falcons would be a little safe. But
that should have been.
Yeah,
that should have been, but no. The fact that there was a revitalize, and sure, despite the crowd control being sound for Falcons to an extent, it was still Onic who was declaring and dictating where the fight happens. So now they're up 3,000 gold. Kelra can move around where he wants. And all right, say what you will about the Hirara and the Esmeralda kind of going where they want to. Uh-oh, they find Kyle once more, and there's no way Kyle survives this. Lutpi scores, and another mount. This should be a clear sign. The first time around, it did not work out.
Yeah.
Falcons should back off.
And I mean, even on this, golden hour used.
Uh-oh. Ogwin just chopped down to a little stomp as they force Patrick Star to take a dirt nap. Lutpi gets knocked up, but again, there's no damage between Flap and Haji here. Falcons once again lose 2 for free.
I mean, what do you do? Oh, Kyrie, oh, he stops him.
He does, but the damage is real. Kyrie finds another. But there is a trade-off. Down goes Suns in mid. Haji traded out for Keyboy. What is he rocking? These enhanced basic attacks on the Marcel are doing work.
What is going on here for Falcons? I feel like across the map, it feels like Onic is everywhere. And at this point, that's what they can do, man. Just continue to build this lead of 5,000 up ahead. The next turtle, last one, is coming up here. But look at this, Kyle. No breathing room.
That's it. We've seen Hirara survive a Deadly Magics through a sequence of spell vamps and iframes, but not like that. Not in a moment of, I don't know, savage vulnerability, because that's what it feels like, Joseph. About 2 to 3 minutes worth of that gung-ho intent that they had against Yangon Galacticos last night.
This feels like Onic time, like in game 1. I mean,
For sure.
You know, this is going to be the next turtle that they get 3 for 3 there. You saw the difference for gold in the gold lane, man. 2,000, I think it was, for Kelra. I'm wondering, too, if he already had the Sky Piercer. I'm not sure if we saw that. If we can take a look at the items here to see where the gold lane is falling in. Yeah, so he's got the Sky Piercer. I'm not sure exactly when he picked it up, though.
Minimum 2 stacks.
Minimum 2 stacks. Malefic Roar already. I mean, think about it, man. You got a Malefic Roar, Hunter Strike, and Sky Piercer already at that 8-minute mark. That's why, you know, all they have to do is lay down Keyboy's golden hour. Here's some Rhapsody shots. There's the stacks. He got 4 stacks.
There you go. I counted minimum, so I'm like, all right, apparently he built it before the whole shebang went down.
Hey, man, if you could just line up Rhapsody shots and then guarantee them to hit after the golden hour is done, like, what else can you do, you know?
Looking for more. They burst down Flap, force him to back off. Flicker spent. Again, better Flickerless than dead. They will lose this tier 2, though, before the 9-minute mark. So already I think that ship has flown. That boat has sailed. They can no longer play it clean and safe. Golden hour. Putting Ogun right where they want him. Another stack for Dwayne.
That's got to feel bad. And look, there's more. Super Marco.
Oh! The KK connection is online, baby. They're up almost 9,000 gold.
Oh, Daniel, I hate to say it, man, but this might be one of the cases where Falcons just go next, you know? It just does not seem right. I don't know if it was the fact they're on Flying Clouds and they just haven't won a Flying Cloud map, but this might end.
I mean, they have a wave coming through. Falcons can clear, and I'm glad to say go next might not be the next thing in the to-do list, because I think Falcons can still clean up, all right? Falcons can still kind of tighten up the belt and say we'll play cleaner, but it's going to take so much. It's going to involve Onic saying maybe we stop.
I'm worried, you know. Change the belt, change the cowboy hat, because right now, Super Marco, yeah, he's got to get a new horse. You know, because right now he just showed up to this rodeo without one, and that's unfortunate. He's 0-3. He's so far behind Kelra. And so what do? You know, this Lord is just going to easily go over to Onic. They ballooned up the lead to 10,000 plus up to this point. They already took out the top base turret. Oh, look at this. The damage.
Even underneath tier 3, they take 2 for free. Kelra is close to maxing out, man. He's 1 away. Building that BOD. They pop the Holy Shield.
No,
and even Marco! So close to the base! Gets taken down!
That's not very yeehaw.
Not at all, partner!
Oh, man, it looks like it could end here. Leo, Flap, and Kyle still alive. They got a wave pushing in bot every single lane. Lord is just now spawning. Is Onic looking to end?
Kyle, of course, use the iframe early. Couple of dashes back. Loot P in the heat of it. Flap eats a face full of deadly magics. Down goes Ogwin. Next up is the base. Onic one more. Kelra max out on stats. Gets another just for good measure. Onic take game 1.
Onic will just pad the stats in game 1. That's exactly what they were doing there at the end. They knew they had it in the bag. A dominant win in this game 1 against Falcons, man. You know, and again, you look at just the way they played. It was executed well. Onic made it happen.
But as all of the armchair analysts and online pundits will say, I think Falcons knew what was up.
Yeah.
Halfway through that game, I think they knew that go next was the next measure.
That's at one point, as much as you want to say, you know, they can come back from this, they can make a stand in the base, they can make this happen. There's some cases where that's just not going to happen. And this was one of them, at least for game 1. Again, hopefully we still have 4 games ahead of us, but you know, these highlights brought to us by STC, you're going to see this kind of, it started so slow. Imagine 5 minutes in, you really don't have any action until this fight.
It was the first major sequence, 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was off this fight, off that turtle, and then in between the 2 turrets, and then it just did not stop from there.
That's about accurate, right? I said halfway through.
Yeah.
Falcons knew, oh, all right, I think we, how do you say, we dropped the ball.
We dropped this one. And again, like, I mean, look at this. Super Mario, this is all he dealt with all game. You know, one of the unfortunate things about going against that Harley is he can just make that happen.
I'm pretty sure our panel will mention how the range on Onyx draft is just all the more superior. We'll throw it over.
Yep, let's go ahead and throw it over to the panel to break down our game 1.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, the range, the kill counts, the lineup, the energy in the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet, all in favor of Onic here as they take game one over Team Falcons PH. Much to the joy of their fans. Rain Day, Renmar, and Trex back on the desk after a quick game one. Sometimes we get a little bit of a longer break in the green room. Not this time around, guys. That was over fast.
Yeah, it was pretty much over in the draft. I couldn't believe that the Valentina and Esmeralda didn't go through as the instant lock-in pick right away. But I think at the same time, Onic took some pages off of the book of Falcons by realizing the importance of the Harley, how good it is, as you mentioned, the small tricks against the Hirara.
Yeah, the Harley's a monster. So many things in that draft went in favor of Onic, I feel like. So many things just kind of worked out. And as we saw, the Harley, I think a lot of teams were searching for an answer for the Hirara throughout the beginning of this tournament. And eventually the Harley popped up, right? And that was kind of the death of the Ling in a sense. We haven't seen one Ling get picked, I don't think, in all of knockout stage so far. And it was one of the most favored picks in the beginning.
Well, as you can see here, it was just dominant from start to finish. The other thing, maybe oversights, maybe want to test the waters, was the Marcel and the Phoveus getting through. The Valentina you picked up on and not grabbing the Esmeralda faster. They still ended up getting it, Falcons, but it was not a matchup that she could win at that point.
Yeah, that's why I was looking for more poke and more damage through the center of the map for Falcons. We know how great the Juicin as a pick is, but in this scenario, knowing that you're up against a Valentina, Esme, and a Harley in the center, I know teams like to pick up the Juicin as a response to the Harley, so that if ever you're the one that gets focused by the deadly magics, you back away. But you needed that damage. You put too much crowd control and put all of the damage pressure on your jungler against a Marcel.
Against one of the things that I think, that's the thing with the draft, that's the thing with the meta right now. So many picks are overlooked. There was so much counterplay in even, I think we can get a little bit more in depth in the moment, but the reality is there are so many answers to so many picks, and you think you are target banning and draft, and then you forget about, oh wait, this is still a priority that I have to worry about.
Yeah, and we're getting deeper into the meta as well, and we're also getting different motivations, different moments of them snapping back into the competition. It feels like Falcons haven't shown up yet. That was too fast of a game for them to be happy about, even with all the smiles and the different approach early on. You know what you're fighting for. There's a lot at stake. Onic, land the first blow. And now it's time for Falcons to find a response.
Yeah, Onic and Kelra mentioned that for him, some of the, maybe, or one of the biggest things that Indonesian teams could work on, according to Kelra, is communication. That didn't look like the case for Onic. It looked like their synergy, as even Coach Midnight and Aurora mentioned before, was just really sharp. Their comms sharp. They knew exactly what they needed to do.
Well, taking a look at that, kind of hard to break down too much because it was such a short game, but in your eyes, Trex, what went wrong? Let's take a look at the draft.
We're going to take a look at the draft. This is actually my first time getting to use this thing. I'm going to put my glasses on for it. So the major things I want to focus on is the beginning in the first set of bans. Now, Team Falcons, being on red side, opt to go for some more target bans. One of the major ones being this Uranus. And I think that is where the big downfall of this whole draft begins. Instead of banning out the Marcel, they go for this Uranus ban. And I think the idea was, I don't think they thought the Marcel was going to get picked up. I think they thought Onic was going to favor into giving Kyrie this Hirara, giving Kyrie something that they know he's going to flourish on, because Onic is a lot of times thought of as Kyrie. They want to make sure he gets something this strong, but instead Onic goes for the Marcel. And the big problem is Falcon kind of falls right into it. They pick all frontliners in their beginning phase, something that Marcel is going to just stun, and then another thing that ends up getting forgotten, one of the picks that is consistently banned throughout this whole knockout stage, throughout this whole tournament, was the Phoveus. And that is the thing that is just kind of the cherry on top of this draft. I know we talked about the Harley, I know we talked about the Valentina, but the reality is the Marcel is what opened everything up. And every time that these three heroes wanted to come in, they immediately got stopped in their tracks. And I think Renmar's going to go over some of the highlights that shows that how this Marcel gives the opening that Kyrie can come in on this Harley and just shred everything up. Now, again, it was a 10-minute game. I'm not going to go any deeper than that, but Falcons is definitely going to have to think about in their next draft what they want to give over and what they want to keep for themselves, and what risks are they really willing to take in that first phase.
Yeah,
I don't know how to erase things.
No, don't worry, I got you. So clearly, it seems like Falcons decided to look way too deeply onto the Uranus pick that we did mention is undefeated for Lutfi. I'm good. I learned some techniques from Brigida yesterday about how to do this one-handed. Yeah, exactly. So this is the fight where I was wondering, why is Haji playing this position? You're up against the Harley that would want you to show yourself. I know you pick up this Juicin because, again, it's so much easier for the Juicin to just get away with the Crimson Beacon, but with the Harley so close by, and you know, based on the positioning of Onic, that Harley is in the orange buff, he's gonna be coming there. He wants to get some pokes off onto K-Boy so that they control him. But the problem is also, you already have Lutfi in a really good position to stop any responses, so that if ever Haji gets a crowd control Keyboy, Lutfi's already there to disrupt again on the Phobius. And of course, you have Sans there as well on the Valentina with great poke, crowd control, and with the Juicin in his hands. We play this out, and I'm just gonna be talking over it. You see how quick Keyboy is so quick to just jump on the opportunity and not even using his golden hour yet. He holds onto it for the best moments, which should be somewhere about now, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. Just when Super Marco arrives just in time to deal damage, the other members of Falcons have already fallen. And this gets stretched out to its limit, where Marco would get busted and get caught out. I think you see Keyboy and Sans calling for Kelra to come closer here, knowing that there's a potential play. Marco and Haji decide to go forward. Keyboy yet again going in through the back. Didn't even, I think he just went ahead, raised his movement speed, got that extra bit of crowd control. That just doubles down on the great communication of Onic. Falcons seemingly lost in the comms and lost in the sauce in the draft. Didn't know how to deal with this.
Great breakdown, and again, we have to reiterate how fast this game moves. Sometimes in a tight match like this with two very competent players, people who have won championships on either side, who have been at the best of the best internationally for many years, you know, somebody beats you on a line drive. Like, it's just the way that it goes. When you have great teams, you're going to take a loss, but how well can you bounce back and give it back is going to be what we look for from Team Falcons, who definitely, from both of your analysis, but also probably from just the common eye, can see that they maybe thought there would be more to that draft that they were trying to get deeper into, when the reality was you let go of the Phobius, you let go of the Marcel. You didn't get an advantage almost anywhere in that draft, and it made the Harara, your key advantage, less impactful.
Yeah, you also let go of the Valentina. Again, I keep scratching my head. Why prioritize the Hirara right away? I know she's a great pick, but you already found the answer to the Hirara and to those kinds of lineups into the Harley. If ever Onic picked up the Marcel, then picked up the Hirara later, Falcons could have picked up the Harley at the next point of the draft.
Yeah, I guess that's true. My thought is they realized the Harley was a prio pick, not only for the jungle from Onic, but also the fact that felt like that would be good for their jungler. And I think that if they gave away the Marcel, they were looking at giving away the Hirara as well if they didn't take her.
Yeah.
I think that's probably in their mind. Might not have been the right call.
Yeah.
But you feel like they were just like, we can't give Marcel and Hirara, and, you know, I feel like that's maybe where they were at.
I feel like their draft was more focused on taking things away from Onic than actually just drafting and trying to counterplay. They ban out the Uranus, they take the Esmeralda, they take the Hirara. It's more of, let's see if we can take away some of these power picks from Onic, instead of exactly thinking too far ahead, because you're completely correct. They could have given up the Hirara. They would have got the Harley, which probably would have done better against the Marcel because you're not getting up close and personal, which probably would have done better against the Hirara because you're not getting up close and personal. It gives you more kite to pair well with your Jushin that you're possibly going to get. Just overall, the draft could have been approached differently. But one thing about Falcons that we have to remember is they lost 2 games in a row yesterday and were still able to come back and win 2. It's definitely not out for them. They have the ability to always recuperate themselves.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at this conversation and you take a look at the head-to-head and the player spotlights, it's Kelra who also had a very good game. 9-0 on the Granger. Remember that Claude was banned on the side of Super Marco. And while we do focus a lot on jungle, EXP, we even focus on mid, one of the stable foundation points for both of these teams is who has a better game. Is it Kelra or is it Super Marco? And it felt like they leaned better in the draft on that one as well.
Yeah, they ended up with a great combo for the Granger. If Harley's not going to get the kills and Granger's going to quickly get the stacks, we saw the Marcel, Valentina at the center. Again, if Falcons, you got to stick to the textbook. If you're willing to give up Marcel, pick up the Valentina. Ever since Marcel popped up in the meta, that's always been one of the things you want to pick up against it. That's why you see some teams on the blue side who want to get Marcel. They ban Valentina in the first phase because they want to be able to set up and manipulate the draft so that the other side is thinking, oh, do we ban Marcel? What are we going to do? I think this is just one of those cases where Falcons made it easy for Onic in the draft, making it easier for them in the game.
Interesting. Trex, your thought on this Valentina? Renmar is pretty focused on.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why Valentina has consistently stayed in the meta, because every time some new crazy hero comes out with an insane ultimate, how do you counter it? Well, you just get the ultimate for your own team as well, right? It's something that even if Valentina gets a little nerfed in terms of damage, her utility, her package, her skill set will always be viable.
Yeah. I think I have a little theory as to why they didn't want to get the Harley up against the Marcel, because technically you could also use the golden hour on your own teammates if ever, let's say, Kyle TZ was on the Marcel. Excuse me, Kyle just now. If he was on the Harley, he gets to pop off the ultimate, and just when the Deadly Magics pops, that's when you bring down the golden hour. But then in that case, you're going to be using the golden hour in a defensive way, which is good for Falcons. Yeah, better than offense, where Kiboy was just on the offense all the time with that golden hour.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a really interesting thought. All of these are great to hear the opinions on, and obviously the players, they've got their thoughts. I know you do in the chat as well, and if you're streaming, you're definitely already sharing your thoughts with your community. But if you haven't streamed and you thought about it, say, I have something to add to this conversation, not just at MSC, but in all of EWC, join our creator program. You have a chance to earn some cool prizes. You also have a chance to go live and share your thoughts. Get involved in the conversation. We're here for 7 weeks in Paris. We'd love to hear what you think. Scan that QR code and join us.
Man, I don't think Falcons expected that to happen in that fast. I think that's why we saw Flap laughing there at the end. It's like, oh yeah. Even Leo was pointing at it. I was like, yeah, at some point they probably just said, let's just go to the next one, guys.
If it's a natural oversight that looks so obvious to us, I have a feeling they were just in the moment, caught off guard, and now they have thought, okay, we can't let that happen again. The interesting thing, though, to see, and we don't know where they'll be, red side or blue side, we mentioned how good Onic is on red side, almost a 50% win rate, when that is much lower on average for most of the teams who deal with getting that second 2 picks and that final last pick. They thrive there, and they make it an even match. Will they switch over to that side? Will we see Falcons fall for another trap in that 5th pick? Or will we see it going back and Falcons realize, you know what, we can do this on red. We understand what they did. We won't make that mistake again.
I mean, Falcons in past has opted for red side. They're one of the few teams that enjoys it. And I think in a meta like this where there's just so many power picks, the swing back of the 2 in the first phase can be dealt with very, very well, especially in the hands of Falcon and their coaches. So I think, it's just to recalibrate, regroup, think about whatever side they choose, they have opportunity. It's definitely not over yet. I think that's the most important thing that we all need to keep in our minds.
If Falcons decide to go on the red side again and they still keep the same bans, then I think their mindset is really just Lutfi on the Uranus is something that they'd rather not deal with. They've seen the 5 games where he went undefeated with it and realized that there's something with how Onic plays the Uranus that even their Esmeralda might not be enough to just deal with that pick. But I don't think they should lean too hard into that. We've seen them go up against teams with some fantastic Uranus players and beat them with the Esmeralda.
Well, I mean, is it better, right? I mean, they said no Uranus, but like, okay, Phoveus, and then you have a Marcel and a Golden Hour to deal with. I mean, let the Uranus through if that's what you're facing. Notably, no Belleric as well in response to slow things down and try to set up some counter initiation if they do try to get aggressive. But again, I think you've got to get the Giants off the table. And I'm sure the bans will look different here, Renmar.
Yeah, Trex did mention it really felt like Falcons just kept wanting to deny things from Onic, but in that desire to deny what Onic wanted, they ended up giving everything Onic wanted, which is a fast game where you cannot stop them.
So there's the choice, though. Falcons opt for blue side. They take first pick, which immediately forces something different. And even the way they're banning already changes up. We still do see the Barats from blue side. Last time it was Onic, but this time Falcon decides to take out the Melissa. Oh, could we be searching for a possible Fanny here? Something of that nature?
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely something divey, looking for the Harar again as a possibility. Onic have taken out the Freya and the Selena, similar to their last set.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the play here for Falcons. You don't see this Melissa banned out often on the blue side unless you're trying to trap your opponent into getting some specific bans so that the Fanny is open up for you. But they decide to ban out the Marcel instead.
Yeah, meaning there's still an Atlas on the table. There's still a Fanny on the table. There's still a lot of things that Onic is forced to choose from here.
Yeah, and at the same time, if ever Falcons decide to rush pick the Fanny and not give it to Kyrie, fair. But be ready for Kiboy to show up with something like maybe the Badang that's going to be a pick. The Cho's still going to be an option. You mentioned the Atlas as well. There's a lot of picks that if ever Fanny gets rushed, the composition might not be enough to set up for it.
Oh, Onic says, let's play the game. Let's roll the dice. We are going to leave it all open. We take out the Valentina. So Fanny open, Atlas open. Harar still open. Lots of opportunity.
In some ways, it's saying take the Atlas. Take the Atlas. You know we can't get the Valentina. You're going to have the Fatal Links. But we've sometimes seen teams that dive into the Atlas without the Atlas Barats, without the Atlas Cho, without something else to be that kind of lockdown alongside to burn Purifies, to burn Ultimates, to burn Flickers. And I like it. I think Falcons have a good response there and said, no, that's okay. We'll grab Fanny.
Yeah, I think the internet would have dogged on them more if they decided to just give Kyrie the Fanny. So fair to just go ahead and pick it up despite there being so many answers open.
Yeah, we have to remember what happened in Game 5 of Onic versus Aurora. The Fanny was the nail in the coffin. And when you're behind a game like this already, it might not be something you want to give up. But this means Atlas for Onic +1. They don't need to pick up a jungler because Fanny's already been picked on the opposite side, so they have freedom to pick up something else big in another lane. Do they go into EXP lane? Alice?
Uranus Esmeralda still available, so is Zushin, so is Phoveus. A lot of characters that we've seen banned, and it's the Harara back in it. Interesting, but I think just trying not to show their cards too early.
I wonder if there's just going to be a Belleric Atlas trade here, so we get the Belleric for Team Falcons. Will make things disruptive. I think Belleric Esmeralda would be okay. You don't pick up the Uranus. You don't pick up something like Hilda to hard focus an assassin because the Esmeralda is still open, and that if ever the Hilda gets picked up, Esmeralda will be an easy pickup for Onic. I think Esmeralda plus mid laner. Oh, Claude, yeah, you're right. Claude and Esmeralda wouldn't be bad for Falcons.
Yeah, it denies it,
Claude
saves
Belleric.
a ban.
Oh, Claude Belleric, excuse me, yeah. So they decide, do we pick up the gold laner or do we pick up the Esme?
Honestly, with how deep the EXP lane pool, the EXP lane goes right now, they go for the Jushin instead. You get a little bit of crowd control. You get some possibility to kite, so definitely not a bad idea. This is a hero that is never so stable and sitting in the same spot that it can kite back from the Atlas.
Yeah.
It also can pick up the Purify and still be very, very valuable.
At least now Falcons know that they don't need to worry about that Harley. I think either you can make a case for any of the picks that show up here, whether it's going to be the Claude, and then Onic will either just ban out the Brody. If you pick up a Sans pick, then Falcons will ban out the Claude and maybe even ban out the Harith at some point. Should be worthy. So they leave everything open again. They don't fall into the trap. They pick up the Uranus. They're probably going to ban out the Esmeralda. That forces Falcons to ban out things like the Brody, as we mentioned, and the Moskov as well. But if you ban both of them, then you're going to have to worry about a mid lane pick being very free for Sans. Onic decides to ban out the Deeroth because they're expecting Falcons to put that into the EXP lane as a response to the Uranus.
You play by play in this draft right now.
The way, did you see how they looked over at Flap and Flap smiles?
Yeah,
The moment the Dairoth gets banned, Kyrie looks up, Flap looks back and smiles.
How do you guys feel about the Dairoth?
Yeah, it's
ban out, obviously.
It could definitely be a clutch pick. I don't think they needed to,
right?
But
so keeping something open, is that why they're doing it?
Well, I mean,
the
it
thought
can
process behind that.
It's a shredder, right? It's something that could be the possible counter to the Uranus.
Yeah.
and maybe whatever else Onic has in store.
Obviously looking at the Uranus and the Esmeralda as two kind of yin and yang, two pieces of the same pie, and Sans already grabbed that for his team. Obviously still looking for that mid laner for Sans as well, who went crazy. Kind of something we've called him before, Crazy Sans. Finally had that big game.
Oh, they banned out the Hanabi too. Okay, that's some really good respect by Onic, not gonna lie.
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's definitely respect, but this means that I think of this. Are they just having fun at this point? Are they just having fun?
I hope not, man. I mean, I hope they are, but I also hope not. I feel like they got to understand the implications. I mean, this is for Falcons as an organization, the back-to-back-to-back. I'm sure that's not taken very lightly. With a quick game, you've got to get some edge.
I'm almost wondering if this is is Onic going to get a little crazy, go for double fighter here and like a Farza in the back or something? With the Dyroth ban, with the Hanabi ban, it's making me think that they could be going heavy front line here.
Yeah, to be fair, Paquito is still open.
Yeah.
Paquito in the gold lane for Kelra. Give it a Sea Halberd at some point so you get some form of basic attack damage. That would be good. And then you pair it up with even more bursts in the center. So as you mentioned, the Farsa pack. The thing is, are they okay with playing the Paquito into the Juicin and the Belleric? So they pick up the Vexana, one of the heroes that we did mention all throughout this draft. Again, Onyx damage profile, their strong front is just good. The Vexana for the Hirara in the mid as a means to support that jungler is so much better.
Have they had an answer to the Fanny yet? Do you feel like they're missing something here on the side of Onic?
A little bit.
Yeah, could be the Moskov as they end up getting the Claude.
Okay.
The fact that they locked in this Vexana first, though, means they're definitely still thinking about how they want to round out this draft. But yes, Moskov could be an answer. I mean, it's not exactly an answer, but it doesn't get targeted down as easy. They haven't found any hard crowd control. Picking up the Uranus, also a little bit dangerous, because the reality is he has zero crowd control as well, and Fanny can just move right by him. The Paquito,
and it is the Paquito gold.
Yeah, they're willing to play into it despite the presence of the Juicin, Esme, and Belleric. They're feeling it today. Onic is feeling it today.
Kelra mentioned he's more comfortable on a marksman, but he can play it.
Yeah, and this is where that Dyroth ban comes in, right? Knowing we're going to have this heavy front line where if a Dyroth comes in and shreds down the armor of this Uranus, shreds down the armor of this Paquito, there could be a problem. The Vexana also will be more protected. And now you have this big group where everyone can kind of stick together, Ube-esque, and the Fanny coming into that, it is a death ball for... So that is your answer. Instead of crowd control, we just all stay together, and if Fanny comes in, you die.
No need to control it. We'll just all stay in a crowd, Onyx say, as they try to go back-to-back with wins. Can they take a 2-0 lead over Team Falcon's PH? Naisu. Leo, what do you think about these drafts?
I like them, man. You know, good drafting here for both sides. It makes sense here, and I think for Falcons, after essentially that first game stop that Onic had, this is what you want to go ahead and, you know, bring in some of your best heroes, make it work. Kyle got his Fanny. But again, this is also Onic. They remember when they brought up the Fanny, Leo, and so they know the game plan to play against a Fanny here.
And that's what I like the most, is both teams came in with answers. There are less questions than there are solutions. So I'd like to see Falcons equalize here 1-1.
Yeah.
Because game one, I think 95% of the community will say that was no game.
Yeah. Like, in their minds, they want this to be game one, basically. But nonetheless, Onic, if they do happen to go ahead and secure this game, they'll be at that match point. And again, we've already talked about what's on the line here now for Falcons, specifically, you know, playing into this one. Putting something like the Claude on Marco is way better, I feel like, than having that Clint, just because, again, you could be a little more self-reliant. He's got a Purify to work with. This was the hero, again, that, you know, this bulletproof Marco moniker started on, and just the fact that he's really hard to kill on it. So some of that alleviated by the fact that you complemented it well with a Jushin, who can help control some of these team fights, you know, around this beacon and that Lantern Flare. Flap, usually pretty dominant on the Esmeralda. I mean, the XP lane is going to be, you know, nothing's fancy is going to happen against Uranus and Esmeralda. It's more of what happens into the first objective fight, which is just seconds away here.
It's interesting that both sides actually commit a few rotations to bottom. I think they knew that both of those gold laners needed a little bit of help unlocking themselves to try and make for quick rotations. Lutfi, man-to-man defense here on the Flap, trying to get a bit of damage before Flap actually hits level 4. The Prior actually does that first. Keyboy looking for a quick frigid breath to stop Flap from pushing in. Quick knock up on that Lantern. Keyboy down to 1/8 of its health. He does survive. Jump in, falling Star Moon answered by internal guard. Extra bodies for Onic does help reset the turtle.
Kelra comes through. Rest of the fight, they already got the beacon out. A whole lot expended for this first turtle.
Another big knockup. Put that internal guard witch, why not? Kelra punching Haji in, forcing him to go back. Suns with a little bit of burst damage from that Vex. Takes down the turtle. Lutfi threatening away Kyle's purple, but I guess that was Falcon's priority to begin with.
Oh, look at this threat too. Kelra enough just to plant himself right here. The full champ stance here in front of Kyle, but again, he wants to go ahead and secure his golem. Keyboy and Sans are just here too.
Whoa! Oh! Massive Fatal Links catching Kyle, serving him up face to fist on Kelra, but Haji trades it out for him. 1 for 1, all in an effort to secure the golem. Joseph, I don't think that was worth it.
You know what? I think at this point, Kelra, he's happy to take it. You know, it slows down the Fanny buildup, I guess.
Oh no, another EG. In comes Kyle. He wants to go again. But there's 3 of them there. Make that 4 if you're counting the EG. What this does allow for Falcons to do, though, is put a lot of bank on Marco. Marco spent the past minute just taking waves. Unfortunately, he did not get the chip away at the shield. So I guess he's just half happy with the outcome on that.
Yeah. So it looks like at least Kyle's going to be able to get his orange buff. I didn't know if Onic would continue to put pressure there. A couple punches here from Kelra. Keyboy's here around the corner. Okay, nothing's going to happen after this. Again, good responses here on both sides, but alleviating some of the pressure. Nothing built up on either side off of that, but it's mainly that kind of nature, right? When you have a fan, you got to go ahead and help secure that jungle, and that's why Onic knows. Let's put pressure even on the green camps, the small camps if we can. Kind of slow that down a bit. And you can see there was a small lead now in terms of XP being built up by Kyrie.
And Kyrie slowly rotating, holding that fence brush. Will not force it, will not push his luck and try to steal away the purple. Kyle will get it, so this will allow them to at least go 50-50 on this turtle spawning lower quarter.
All right, Kelra in position 2. Fighting for that. Whoa! Kyrie gonna get forced off his green camp.
Oh! That wall was the bane of Falcon's existence. Tower shot coming through. Cyclone Eye to get the safety. Oh man, Kyle is not in any shape to take the turtle. Gets taken down by Lutfi off of an Ionic Edge. It's all Onic. The Sky Kings are taking their second turtle as they apply more pressure on Falcon's jungle.
I thought it was going to be the perfect escape, man. The cables going through the walls, getting a little speed boost, but then Lutfi comes through with the flicker to take him out. So now Onic looking to build up more. Consider used.
Oh, Ogwin used that Wrath of the Dryad defensively to stop him from pushing forward. Are we back to square one? Is this the game 1 situation all over again? Onic playing on Onic time.
Yeah, feels like it. I don't know if they're going to be able to get this turret too. It looks like. Oh, hold on. They want to attempt.
Falling Star Moon. Flap put down about 0. Just like that. Onic are 2,000 gold up, given that was 4 members of Onic underneath tier 1.
Yeah. It's not as devastating as Game 1's Turtle Take that, where we had that one team fight and Onic pretty much took everything.
6-0.
You know, 6-0, but Falcon's still okay. This lead is building up. They got to look for something to slow this down, though. That's the big problem. I mean, look at this. Keyboy's waiting position 2. Lutfi enough to zone out.
Oh my god, Haji had a couple of major members of Onic behind him. And now Ogwin tries again. Comes in with a Wrath of the Dryad. Kyle does not have enough energy to start running roughshod in that small little avenue near the purple. This is tough because Onic are now up 3,000, push tier 1 in mid and bot, so the map is shrinking.
The crazy thing about it is Onic's not really doing anything too fancy. It's just they're kind of putting pressure where they need to on the camps here of Kyle, but you know, because that's the thing. If you put enough pressure, you know that Falcons has to respond to allow Kyle to get this kind of farm, or even his purple buff, hell. And Onic can just continue to press down on the wound here.
Uh-oh. Get a quick knockup, but answer with a Fatal Link. Super Marco couldn't make that blazing duet last more than 2 seconds. Ogwin underneath 3. Make that 4. AJ coming in, knocking up the big tree, chopping him down. Lutfi scores another. But they find a punish on Suns. Can Kyrie finish what he started? And Kyle folds. He might find a shutdown on a Kyrie here. Kyrie gets away.
Oh man, the mobility again with Hirara on the showcase here. Just when you think, you know, sliver of HP left, we're going to at least take something down. At least Kyrie, but he gets away. Let's look at the replay here. Brought to us by STC again. The Eternal Guard in this fight. Enough crowd control to keep Ogwin in place. Obviously, Kyle comes and gets a kill, but at the cost of his own life too. So, you know, again, it's just Onic playing to the advantage. And now we're going to see that continuing happen here on this side of the jungle. And they've already got this lead built up, 5,000.
Oh no, Onic knows.
Oh no!
They force Kyle Eretri as he goes for his purple. They take him down, and they are gonna continue to march through. They steal away his buff, kill him, go for the turtle, and then pressure mid continuously.
Man, I don't know. Onyx lineup is just like having. They just got bouncers, man. They got the Uranus. They got the you got to count the Eternal Guard from the Vexana, and then you got Keyboy and the Atlas. Like these are 3 tanky dudes just giving so much space to Onic to work with.
Technically 4, because with perfect match, that's another body you have to worry about.
True.
Team Falcons are getting smothered here. It's literally just dude advantage.
Yeah.
There's literally more pieces that Onic are bringing in, and 8 minutes in, almost 8,000 up. The math does not side with Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, you can see this. I mean, Lutfi, of all people on this Uranus, just go ahead, face off against 3-4 members of Falcons. Doesn't really matter. You know, he's not going to get shredded down at this point, unless somehow Falcons can catch up to this. But just like we saw in Game 1, being down, you know, 8,000 gold leading in to eventually this First Lord, you almost expect Onic just to secure that and start approaching these base turrets as they now take down all Tier 2 turrets of Falcons.
And I would not doubt in this next wave, they're able to actually pop that holy shield. Ogwin falls once again. Kyle secures his Malefic Roar, so there should be some hope. Flap gets knocked out by Kelra underneath that inhibitor.
I don't know if there's any hope here, Leo. It looks grim. 2 of your tankier heroes being taken down in the lineup here against Onic. Kyle's got no choice. Oh, Kyrie jumping in. Gets the beacon out, too. They might just take a base turret now.
All right, the siege minion will fall. They will have to wait. Kelra sitting at 3-1-2. Sure, look at Kyrie 404. But Kelra, since minute 1, has been the forward assault. He's been basically the bouncer that can't wait to get some quick knockup on a Lutfi. But it's enough time to buy that takedown on mid. This is the best position for Falcons to be in, but Fluff gets taken down first and Ogwin too. Kyle was dealing with the wave down bottom, and now they have to clear the wave in mid. Lest Onic end it now.
No way. Okay, they should be able to clear this. They still have a wave, though.
There is still a wave, and Marco's here, waiting for stacks on AOT and Blazing Duet. Onic are taking game number 2. Match point for the Sky Kings.
Back-to-back games of Onic clipping the Falcons' wings. This was faster than the Game 1. I mean, I didn't think it would end there, but Falcons, it just seemed like they really couldn't do much. Again, that was the nature, that was the story of Game 1. And you took the gamble and bringing in, you know, this kind of lineup, this kind of jungle in the hands of Kyle. We've seen him do it before, but Onic knows how to solve it.
More than just raw time and speed, Joseph. The velocity at which Onic won this. Looking at their lineup again, 70% of it says we're going forward, that there's no re-engage on us. We literally are in your face and we win fights. And sure, this might have ended, what, under 11?
Yeah.
But it felt twice as quick as Game 1.
It did. And it was one of those cases, again, where off of maybe, what, I think it was a second turtle this time, where they just flipped the switch and it became Onic time again, you know, and you would think they'd have a little bit more difficult time getting into the space with this kind of lineup, but they just had such a lead that they brute forced their way through it. And again, Falcons left kind of wondering what happened here through this one. So just a really tough game back-to-back games here for Falcons, and for the Falcon fans out there, let's go ahead and throw it over to the studio to break down our game 2.
Well, jubilation continues for Onic as they go 2-0 up and are only one game away from $100,000. It has been less than an hour. It has actually been less than 25 minutes of game time to earn $100,000. In what many people couldn't even go get their Uber Eats or whatever delivered by then. That's a pretty good use of your time, right?
Yeah, we've yapped longer on this panel than we've seen actual gameplay in this series. That's Onic time, man. It feels like this is like years of frustration from Onic against Team Falcons and their members. Years of frustration from Indonesian players against Filipino players, just going out all with a bang here.
Yeah.
Because even in the draft, it was good. They had answers for both.
Yeah.
You can just put it together as Onic are simply better today.
He said, I mean,
we basically walked back to the talent room and then ran back here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about how that
That's about, you're right. It was a walk back and it was like a light jog over this way because that's how fast it was. I mean, I got to say that the word coming out of my mouth right now feels a little bit of disappointment to start, but that is also the sign of what could be a great comeback story, because I'm sure Filipino fans were watching that originally, and then Falcons started to turn it up against Yangon Galacticos. They brought it back 2 games. They got Super Marco on that Claude, which is yet to happen again and again, and they made their moments. So guys, I'm not going to continue with the dismay, maybe the doubt that's occurred here. I'm actually going to talk about what if we can see this Team Falcons PH team bounce back yet again, because that's what I know everyone at home is hoping to see.
Yeah, at the same time, all right, I might be the voice of the community here. I feel like a lot of people are thinking, do they really want to see that? After years of Filipino domination, and yes, this is a Filipino saying it.
You might be right.
I gotta be honest, there are probably a lot of members of the community right now watching this game and enjoying the hate watch.
You might be right.
Listen, you know me. Even I want to see this go to 5 series.
Really, Mr. Fear? I feel like you want to see this end now.
No. Even I, for the love of esports, want to see this go 5 games. I don't ever want to see a 3-0 sweep like this. 2 20-minute games. I mean, 2 games in essentially under 20 minutes at this point. I want to see this at least go 4 games, and I think Falcons can definitely do it. I know that they've had a rough 2 games so far, but we saw them do it yesterday. It was tough yesterday going up against Yangon for them, and they were able to bring it all the way to Game 5. And I still think a lot of it has to do with possibly draft, maybe a bit of execution, but they got to pull together. They got to play them.
The disappointment is in not showing up. It's not showing your identity. It's not claiming a way that you want to approach the game and kind of being on the back foot, saying we didn't even get a chance to be us. That's what the disappointment would be. And if we take this maybe one step further, this is the last statement before M8. We talked about it coming into here. How do you want to leave? What do you want to put on the table and say, yeah, we didn't get where we wanted, but boom, take that, we will be back. That's what I know Team Falcons wants to do. Let's not even talk Club Championship at this point, because they are 3 games in a row away from being able to do that, and that's a tall task against any of these semifinalists, let alone Onic, who are playing this well.
Yeah, I wonder what else they have left in the tank. I feel like Yangon Galacticos brought them to their limit. Yeah. And Game 5 could have been anyone's game. I still clearly remember at the end of that draft, I did utter those words like, this is up to anyone. And we thought it was going to be Falcons. Then they committed those 2 errors. And I feel like those 2 big errors, diving into the base and then taking that one fight, I just can't remember exactly when, is still haunting Falcons.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their movements are very awkward and they look like they can't decide on what to do.
I know we're going to get a Telestrator in a second, but just looking at those notes, it's 22,000 damage for the Fanny, which they first picked, which they set up to be able to be first picked. And then you go on the other side, it's the Harara, who was not performing well in Game 1 when it was prioritized by Falcons. Now on the side of Onic, it's got 37,000 damage. It's a 15,000 damage increase over the competition. And so that just shows that it might just be more than the draft guys. I do want to break this down, but there is something mentally going on. There's something execution-wise going on for sure.
Yeah, it really looks like Falcons are second-guessing themselves a lot in terms of what to do. And in those moments where they're finally decisive, they overlook that one thing that could turn their dive around, that can turn their attempt around.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into that telestration. I know, Rinmar, you prepared some clips. What do you have for game 2?
All right, so it's not just me here, Trex. If you want to jump in at any point, especially discussing the clips or the draft, let me know. But we first look again, the priority of Falcon here is they want to make sure that they take the Fanny away from Kyrie. Good. All right. Everything set up really well. And as expected, the Atlas is going to come in through for Onic because, well, you want to be able to invade that Fanny. And you don't want that Atlas to go to the side of Falcons, because if you do, then no matter what you put in the jungle, in the end it was the Hirara, Fanny's going to be well protected, and diving against that is going to be fine. So one thing that you do up against a jungler that wants to have really good tempo and be the one to be aggressive is that you pack strong side lanes. Yes, so far in this tournament, Esmeralda versus Uranus has been somewhat maybe 65% leaning towards Esmeralda over the Uranus. But what Lutfi did in this series as this Uranus is fantastic because he just kept cutting the waves. He didn't take that duel. He said, looking at the map of Falcons, what am I? Gonna be at the risk of getting taken out by a Beleric and Juicin? That's not gonna happen. The Fanny's not gonna be able to take me down right away. So Lutfi kept cutting waves to control that so that Flap is always late in helping out the Fanny. Then you go into the other side of the map and then you get the Paquito in the gold lane for Onic, which again adds more to the idea of strong side lanes, faster tempo, so that from the sides and even through the center, because you have an Atlas, the map of the Fanny will feel ridiculously small. The pick here that I feel like won it for Onic and lost it for Falcons, funnily enough, are the picks in the mid lane. You get the Vexana for Onic, which in the one clip I will show you, crazy that Sans is actually able to get a great Terrify off onto Kyle, and then the Juicin on the other side. The Juicin for control, great, yes. But then, similar to their draft previously, they were putting a lot of the pressure onto the damage. Simply add to this tricks.
No, I think you did everything perfectly.
Oh, hey man,
Me too.
I'm gonna start blushing here, guys. Thank you. So the two clips, I'm not gonna take too long with this, but this one was one of the toughest decisions for Falcons because after Kiboy showed his perfect match, that's usually your go sign to just go ahead and keep fighting. But they have a timer in the arrival of the Paquito through the river. We go out. They get Kiboy down low, force out the flicker, the targeting. Kyle, he's hoping there's just enough in the tank to take down Kiboy, but he won't be able to. Because right now, at this point, Marco has made the call for the rest of the team that, hey, the Paquito's on the way. And when the Paquito joins in, the Falcons made the right call here, but it was a tough call to back off. Despite the really good Falling Star Moon, despite them forcing out the ultimate of the Vexana, once Kelra shows up, you really need to back. Despite Kiboy being very low, you just need to go back here. There's enough crowd control, enough damage from the Hirara as well to mess them up, and they just got pushed back. Again, because the Uranus, yes, doesn't have crowd control, but constantly being in the fight, a long stretched out fight up against a lineup that, again, assassin burst damage coded. Uranus is very happy for that, and eventually Falcon just had to give up that turtle. They needed that turtle one and some kills to add on to that to get some momentum going, but they couldn't. So they make their next big play, their next big attempt. Flap and Kyle find the opening through the golem and want to go for it, while Ogwen and Haji are still clearing up mid. And look where Lutfi is coming from, as we said earlier, cutting lanes. He's a little bit behind this time, but it's gonna be fine because they know that they can survive this because Sans is gonna pull off something really freaking cool. Let me just zoom in right quick. Terrify. Mid-air, doesn't care. He made that look way too easy. That ruined the flow of the cabling for Kyle and the damage, forcing the Purify out from that Esmeralda easy. And Ogwen and Haji, who are taking their sweet time, clearing mid with the Beleric and the Juicin together. That's another reason why Onic just felt so fast here. They cleared the mid lane much faster. Vexana, terrific at clearing up minion waves. Add a concussive blast on your Atlas for that, and then it leads to them just getting around the map faster, taking control, and Falcons not having any time whatsoever.
It was really a pace issue for Falcons. It was an identity issue. We talked about it, maybe a draft issue as well. But more so, it might have been an expose, not just on how Falcons didn't get it done, but how good Onic really are, and how yesterday's match versus Team Spirit exposed how great Blink has been playing. Because finally, to shine, you can see when he's on the right roamers, when he's on the right characters, he can make a world of difference. And last series, it was really Blink who went so deep into the roam pool. Kid Boy didn't have as many options. Now he's on an Atlas. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do what I need to do. That was a great showcase. So again, yes, we're looking Onic, we're looking Falcons, but also the grand finalists took both these teams down. Maybe there's a nod to how good they have been playing that have not allowed us to see some of the strengths that these two teams have brought into it. Speaking of two teams, speaking of playing together, we have a new update from Acecraft and a new mode in co-op, and we fly together to check out. On the other side of that, we'll be in the draft for Game 3.
A lot of people are haunted by their past. I'm inspired by it.
They're not just playing for themselves, they're really playing for their entire family.
They have defeated their demons! They have crushed the curse! He thinks he can come in here and play my game! Let's go! He knows nothing! Let's go!
Tyler, why? You're done.
Raw energy! House for boss and blow the house down!
To our grand final matchup, which is set for 2 p.m. CEST. So in Paris time, in about, let's see, an hour and 40 minutes from now, we'll be heading towards that grand final and seeing who will be our new champion in the new era, Yangon Galacticos or Team Spirit. But for now, it's Onic and Team Falcons PH who are going toe-to-toe. It is the final game potentially for Onic, Trex, but that also means that the Philippines run here at MSC could come to an end with Team Falcons going down one more time.
So much on the line here for Team Falcons. If there was any team that I thought could come back from match point right here, it would definitely be them, but there are a lot of things they have to answer. We focused on draft, we focused on in-game mistakes, and the whole plan just needs to be shifted at this point. For me, coming to this draft, I do really think Falcons needs to get back to the basics. So many target bans, so many things that just seem like they're trying too hard to big brain the situation. Just go back to banning Fanny, banning Phoveus, banning whatever else plus that, and keep the draft simple.
I think they're also coming into this with the same mindset as maybe what helped them realize how they came back against Yangon Galacticos. They put a Juicin in the center of the map to help control the tempo. I understand that Yangon and Onic are both teams that want to play aggressive and play fast, but Onic are not Yangon and Yangon are not Onic. So I think one way to start with is you deprioritize that Juicin, get something else for Haji, and get it in the second phase.
Falcons have brought things back to some simplicity. The Atlas and the Fanny ban on blue side. Final ban coming in. You could still take out the Barats if you want. You could maybe even take out the Uranus here if you wanted. Keep it simple, and that forces the side of Onic to take out the Marcel most likely, which I think is clean play right here. They go for the Valentina, which again forces Onic to most likely ban out the Marcel here.
Yeah, and then when they ban out the Marcel, most likely either a Belleric rush or they go for one of the Assassins open. And then on the other side, Onic will get the Belleric. If they still let go of the Belleric, then Falcons should not bite into that bait and then just pick away a Keyboy signature hero like a Cho. I think I'd rather Falcons give the Belleric to Onic because Keyboy doesn't look like he's not that comfortable with it because it's not a Keyboy hero. It doesn't feel like Keyboy.
Right. Yeah, the Fanny has been pretty standard. The Atlas as well. But the focus on Roam early, I think, has been more beneficial to Keyboy and to Onic than it has been to Falcons. And I do believe that maybe second phase is what's important. There's been a lot of EXP bans. We've seen the Uranus ban twice and then picked up. That's been high priority for this matchup. It hasn't really worked out well in the hands of Falcons. But Flap now trying to pick up something that could shift the tide. The Barats finally open, has been banned 2 games in a row, and now could be something that they go for.
You got to go for Marcel here. Yeah. Marcel gets picked up, which is huge for Falcons. Unless, I mean, if Onic has an answer to this right now, then I guess Onic just, they were destined to win this series at this point. They take up the Harara. You go for Belleric here. I feel like Belleric is okay against the Marcel. You want someone that's going to come in. Yeah, another possible answer down the line.
Yeah. Again, though, but my only problem with the Belleric is it's Belleric for Keyboy. It just, to me, has just never felt so comfortable in terms of an idea. So they go ahead and prioritize the Barats. Tough thing about this now is if you decide to pick up the Harley, you have another big stompy boy coming in through the EXP that could mess you up and mess up your engages because essentially it becomes a 1-for-1 trade. They're going to get the deadly magic off onto someone and will deal damage. Barrett's is going to choose someone up and then it's going to be a -1. I think Juicin should not show up for any of these drafts, and both of the mid laners need to go for burst, high crowd control. Get Vexana back, get Lo Yi back, Farsa, anyone who fills in that idea.
I think if they can go for a solid front line on the side of Falcon, the Harley can still be viable. And honestly, it kind of feels like it's the only option right now. Or the Guinevere. Guinevere, another decent option, honestly. They also fall into Marco, give themselves some comfort. And I think, in my mind, this is the only way this draft should have really gone for Falcons. Don't big brain it too hard. They get the Marcel. They get so much power in these first few picks. Play what you know you can do and what that you know will work.
He gets the Claude for the first time as well, Super Marco. And I am a little bit worried. The only reason I'm worried on the side of Falcons continuing this on is because wouldn't you just think Onic no? I mean, they're giving the Marcel, so they must have an answer in mind. Maybe it doesn't work in practice, but they know what they're doing.
One thing that Onic needs to ban out, I feel like, would be an Arlot or Flap. You see the Mathilda, there's a chance for Mathilda Barretts together. With all that dive and aggro, some strong crowd control. Again, I think Falcons this time can lean towards a little bit the idea of tempo control as long as it's not around a Juicin in the mid. You already have a Guinevere, get burst on your mid, get a high sustain, high mechanic EXP laner in the Arlot that can be disruptive, and that would be great for Falcons.
I gotta say, this Matilda is one of the possible answers to that Marcel right there. The thing about the Golden Hour is it's a pretty long animation, right? You have a few seconds, and this Matilda could buy the time. It's also not a roamer that wants to just be in your face. It's not super stable. You get movement, and to pair that all up, you can actually keep up with the Marcel in terms of rotation and moving around the map. So possibly one of the things that Onic was thinking about when they let this Marcel over.
Lapu Lapu and Zushin on the bans so far. We've seen EXP bans focus now shifting a little bit towards the mid lane on the side of Falcons, which is maybe going to open things up for Haji. He's had a tough matchup against Sans. These two have kind of gone back and forth. They were highlighted earlier on before the set. Maybe just taking away a couple things. And right there, as you guys had mentioned, the Arlet banned out against Falcons.
Yeah, very good ban there by Onic. And let's not turn off the possibility that this Matilda might surprise and go into the mid lane, and then you have a different roamer.
Definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. I think so many things are open. Falcons for EXP lane. Do we think Esmeralda's a possibility here with the... since they're going up against the Matilda, you have shields. Maybe not the greatest matchup against the Barrettes, but it's a little bit faster in terms of rotation.
Actually, their bans on the Arlot and the Lapu Lapu might already be a tell that this Barretts is going into EXP. Because those two heroes would be somewhat be dealt with all right. Not answered by, but it's a moot point if you get an Esmeralda with you. So I think that Barretts is already going to the EXP.
I mean, Esmeralda on Falcons.
Oh.
Be a decent pickup for them.
Yeah.
Is it enough to mix things up? Eudora feels like a forgotten thought, but should be top of mind with how well she has performed throughout this MSC. Picked up late after the bans from the mid lane have come through. Selena, Valentina, and Zushin. And now we see the Harith band.
I mean, it is already, it's not a jungle Barretts, it's an EXP Barretts because you already have the Herrera. They ban out the Uranus. I don't mind. What else can they put? Onic really took out the two best ones. I think Phoveus is not going to have a good time with this lineup either. You don't put that Guinevere in the jungle, you just stick it into the EXP. They do need range or constant damage. They could go Kimmy in mid with the Marcel as a combo. Get a lot of pokes in, but no, they go for the Farsa. I was asking for burst and they got it. Oh, and the Sora! Sometimes I forget he exists.
Banned game one.
And I mean, this is a pick that can capitalize on this close. You have the Eudora, who's very close range, not a lot of range. A lot of Onic is going to want to stick together a bit. Everyone's going to kind of want to huddle around this this Matilda, especially with the Barats, someone that wants to peel for this Eudora, kind of protect. Obviously, Herrera's going to be doing her own thing, but the Sora, one big shifting skies. Yeah. And it could be detrimental to a way that Falcons wins here. You pair that up with a Feathered Airstrike, Violent Requiem, a lot of combo play on the side of Falcons.
And I think Onic were considering something maybe like an Itcha as a surprise idea, but nope, they're still going to lean in towards the damage. They can still play fast. This lineup that they drafted is still very Onic coded. If Falcons mess up the execution, then it was definitely Onyx Day and Onyx Series to win.
Paquito in the gold lane for Kelra one more time. And we'll see if this can be the time that earns them third place. Kelra had a chance against Onic prior. And this time it was an Onic matchup. Can he do it against the Philippines, this time representing Indonesia? As Team Falcons and Onic go up for game 3. Is it going to be a sweep in our third place match? Guys, that would be crazy, but I know some fans that would enjoy it. Let's send it over to Naisu and Leo.
Hey, I'm hoping it's not a sweep. I think they brought the draft here, though, Leo, to make that happen. I like what they brought to the table just because, again, there's some burst, there's some crowd control, and even the Marcel. I think this all pairs up really well against what Onic brought to Game 3.
Not just that, the fact that they've basically over 3 games changed their identity. They let go of the glue, they let go of the Esmeralda. They're no longer living in the we will fight and die by this kind of rotation. There's a lot of re-engage here, especially to answer Onic's own re-engage, especially with that Matilda in the hands of Keyboy. Early start here, a little bit of footsies between the mid duos from both sides, and then we eventually just return back the roamers protecting their junglers from getting their early buffs.
Taking a look at the emblems here, too. It's a little scary, as you mentioned, Keyboy, on this Matilda. Not only the mobility, but that focusing mark, the emblem there to go ahead and help. I mean, we already know the Eudora for Sans, like the burst potential there. Just yesterday, we saw Sunset Lover play it pretty much 5 games in a row. And, you pair it up with this, even the emblem interaction, there's a good amount of burst that comes through to almost solidify yourself a kill. So then you get the numbers advantage, and you can work around that. Plus mobility. And I think that's what makes the Barretts even scarier here for Lutpi, just because, again, you know, you already cover a lot of grounds with the flicker, but then now you have a Matilda. Like, that's great. But over on the flip side, with Falcons, I kind of forget about Sora too. You know, I have to be on the same wavelength here with Renmar. You kind of forget about him. But just as we saw in the hands of Kid Bomba yesterday, you're reminded why he can be so deadly, especially when teams are kind of clumped up together.
And Onic knows best exactly what a good Sora can do. Kyle backing off. They see that there's 3 members of Onic pushing forth. Down bottom, though, who'd have thought that by bringing a pair of boxing gloves to a gunfight, you could get away with a lot. Kelra's bullying Marco. I doubt that Marco can even double wave as soon as this turtle dance or fight fully breaks out.
Yeah, right now, Onyx got control of it. We'll see if Falcons is in a position to fight. Kyle's going to be spotted out here, though, by Keyboy. Can they go in?
That's a Shifting Skies started up by Flap, but to no avail as Onyx secures the turtle. Down goes Flap. That Feather Air Strike may be a league too far out of the fight as Onic barrels forward 1,000 gold up.
Good enough burst, it seemed like, to be the case, but what happened there with Onic was just able to go ahead and zone out Falcons from the fight. And part of that was just Lutpi. I mean, on the Barretts alone, he just kind of separated the rest of Falcons from that, and they were able to go ahead and capitalize a kill on Flap when he tried to initiate things. And you know, honestly, that kind of choreography for these objective fights is kind of what I expect, unless somehow Falcons can figure out a different way to go through that. But that's what makes it really difficult. Again, you know, playing around the potential to surprise them with having this Guinevere, with having Ogwin on the Marcel. Now, the Golden Hour can help make that happen. You know, could slow down or kind of make things weird, the rhythm weird for Onyx team fighting, but that first one was not it for Falcons.
To be fair, Ogwin wasn't ready quite yet. And that means 3 out of the 4 possible ults that were laid down to help disrupt Onyx form wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Or they were lacking one major resource. So going into turtle number 2, spawning in the lower quarter, out in about 30 seconds and change should be a different story. But again, that is looking at Onic. They still have all of their resources. That as well into the wall, plus the Feather Air Strike, but it's Kyle who falls! And Lutpi walks away with it. Flap goes down too by Kyrie's blade. Onic showing no quarter, as even Haji might fall, does not have the wings by wings! Kyrie! Bloodthirsty finds another.
Even before that Kyrie play, give it up to Lutpi, man, to be able to go ahead and respond that fast. Again, he saw that Kyle came through. Daytona's welcomed him, flickered defensively to get him close to the team fight. As we look at the replay, this is what I was talking about. Boom, right there, sets things up. San's also coming through to make sure that he got that stun off in time to make sure Lutpi survived. And then, of course, Kyrie cleaning things up under a tier 2 this early on. Man, it's not looking good in game 3.
Turtle number 2 is looking like a non-starter once more. Lutpi, Detna's welcome. Good amount of nothing he's chomped down, but that's just but a consolation prize for Falcons. They are in no shape to contest.
Biggest lead we've seen so far throughout these 3 games. Onyx going to go ahead and stall it out a little bit so that Kyrie can go ahead and grab his buff. Again, already sitting at 3-0. You know, this is the power spike already for Harara. It's going to be really difficult to play against, and that's why even your frontliners for Falcons are having such a hard time here, because even if they put themselves in this, I mean, look at that. You either get stunned, you get chomped. They are going to slow this down a little bit, but, I mean, you buy an extra second or two with the Golden Hour, and Turtle secured for Onic.
They're delaying the inevitable. Onic knows that they were going to get the turtle anyways, but I don't know if they saw that Marco was going to work the opposite lane. So that's at least a turret on the board for Falcons. They'll help keep this lead down to a palpable 3K, but Kelra will make quick work of that turret on the other side as well. So I'd say it's still just the free turtle that Onic are riding on that puts him up at about 4,000 gold. They find one!
Ooh.
And Kaku saving himself. Keyboy with a circling eagle. Onic refused to give anything over to Team Falcons.
Falcons was so close to at least getting one on the board, and then Keyboy is able to survive, man. That Purify, even if they popped it, he still had the shields to go ahead and keep him alive. Really good usage there. Now they're knocking on this tier 1. Oh, Kelra.
Their airstrike. Kelra coming in from the flank. Stop. Flickered in. Hadouken. Might take out Hanji, but Hanji does get the fly off, even with the flicker from Lutpi, and the punish from Falcon is real. Ogwin punches him down. Golden Hour will not save him from Sans, though, as it turns into a 1-for-1.
All right, the 1-for-1 trade, at least Falcons is on the board, but man, again, you're seeing it. Onyx playing around the lead that they have, and you know, one of the difficult things here as you see these fights break out is just how kind of, oh, hold on, Flap, whoa, burns the flicker. Okay, Sans is gonna be okay. So at least a battle spell expended. But again, it's weaving into these fights. The thing that Onyx lineup does so well, especially with Kelra or Kairi, is how much they can maneuver around these team fights or around these
Whoa, 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 whoa. Was that a circling eagle leading up to Lutpi underneath Tier 1, getting hit with a Requiem, and they get another. Keyboy falls, the punish from Falcons, getting 2 kills on Marco.
Yeah, did they just guiding wind into their death? I mean, Onic tried to make it seemed like he wanted to make a play, and then they got punched in the face.
Yes, the only reason why it seems so unbelievable is it happened as we were swinging the camera over, and then it happened. So turtle number 3 might actually be Falcons' way to redemption. And it looks like Onic are not going to contest, so they accept the folly of their fumble. Falcons on the board when it comes to neutrals.
Yeah, that's when you say, you know, that's my bad, that's my bad, right? But
MB, go again.
MB, go again. Falcons able to get the last turtle. They still have some ground to cover, though. They're down a bit, a few thousand gold up to this point, but they are starting to farm up, and a big part of that is going over to Super Marco.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
All right, wings by wings out. Marco, can we take a look at the items to see where Super Marco is? Again, okay, so he's got his 2 items. He's working on his 3rd. That golden staff is what he needs to get that Trinity locked in for this Claude. So he's done a really good job, despite how things have kind of fallen apart for the early game for Falcons. You know, your gold laner for Falcons is really what you're leaning towards. Obviously, Haji, too, only having the glowing 1. You can already see when he drops down a Feathered Airstrike, it's got some damage. So Falcons is waiting.
A little bit of a sting there. And he's down a full 1,000 gold up from Sun, so Falcons have to play this very precariously. A minute until Lord spawns lower quarter. Fortunately, the long lane is in control of Falcon, so that's what Marco's been working on. Shifting skies, but he gets answered by that as well. The Feathered Airstrike 2, Golden Hour, compromising the rest of them. Requiem on a Suns, and Falcons get a kill. Now into the back line, circling Eagle, knocking up Kyle. Kyle's not long for this world as Kairi scores. Killer knocks out Haji. The Blazing the Wet fade away by Marco. Pushing them back, but they're not done. Ogwin runs through, recalls back, fight's over.
Okay, fight's over. Onic gets the upper hand in that one. Sans, unfortunately, had to deal with the spatial migration coming through from Kyle. Oh, Kelra with a couple punches. Checking Ogwin here. They're going to take down the tier 1 in mid. So Onic reestablishing that lead that they had earlier on. You know, but Falcons, they're showing some fight here. They're showing some promise. They've just got to find the upper hand. Again, this Daytona's welcome, locking down Flap. Look at Kyle, he finds Sans. That's great, but then this fight kind of gets split up, you know, and they don't really have the room to work with here. Flap has to disengage from it. The Blazing Duet from Super Marco didn't get as much value as you'd hope for if you're Falcons. So it was just, again, having that upper hand in terms of itemization for Onic, and now this Lord is up. So they've got control of it. Falcons here. Do they contest? Ogwin jumping forward to give some information. They will reset the Lord, though.
Flap holding this brush behind the Lord pit. He's going to get flushed out by Lutpi. Missile expert to throw him out there. And look at Kelra. Kelra is just doing God's work right now. The fact that he's threatening that long lane, all this while Onic is also just threatening the dance, makes it so weird for Falcons. Like, what do they commit to? Sure, they have a BMI. Sure, they have the wings by wings, but those are massive resources they're going to need if they want to fight against Onic, who's up by about 4,500 gold.
Oh, hold on.
Deadna's welcome, throwing it over. Golden Hour to delay the damage. Coming on a Flap, and he goes for the Shifting Skies. Jumps through, and now in comes Kyle. Marco looking for the perfect Blazing Duet entry. And there's some wings by wings. The damage on Kyle is real despite the Requiem. Feathered Airstrike at point blank range. Kyrie finds the double, make it a triple. Marco with a defensive Blazing Duet, but he's the only survivor left, and Onic wanna clean up house. Kyrie in the base. Can Marco do it? No! Kyrie finds him! The Savage in the groups gets another, and I think we're close to calling it.
Oh, man. Ignore the Lord. They've got waves pushing in here. They'll take what they want. It's Hunger Games right now. Look at the replay here by SDC. Again, this was a fight that was not in favor of Falcons from start to finish. And the team fighting here by Onic, again, just able to kind of dissect the fight.
Lutfi denied the Savage. I counted 5, but that's why it didn't come up, because the 4th went to Lutfi and then Marco got cleaned up.
Well, you know, you can still take the Maniac, right? I mean,
and then the Savage from earlier in the tournament. But regardless, Falcons find themselves in an so familiar spot in this series. Onic knocking down on their bases, waves coming in from all directions.
Yeah.
Down being almost double digits. Again, this is an 8,000 gold lead. Eminent.
Yeah, and they got a Lord come up to that top side. Big item pickups here for Onic too at this point. 12 minutes in. BOD for Kyrie. Divine Glaive for Sans. You know, again, it's just you've got these items locked in that you needed, and you're ready to go ahead and knock down some of these base turrets. So, Daytona's welcome.
And it's canceled by a golden hour. In comes the rest of them. Down goes Flap. Ogren barely gets away. Pops that Purify to buy time after the top lane inhibitor crashes. So Falcons are just staunching the bleeding here. Feather Dash Strike coming in from Haji, blasting away those waves. And they will save mid lane inhibitor. Top lane still in jeopardy. Bottom up next on the docket to defend. Onic looking to control the amount of bodies that they put underneath
Kyrie's
that.
hitting the base.
And Kyrie's just looking to burst it down. Ogwen looking for the punish. And Kyrie survives.
Okay, I guess Kyrie's like, you know what, if you guys are going to deal with the defense, I might as well just go ahead and hit the crystal a little bit here. So he does some damage to it, but they maintain 2 base turrets. It looks like Onic wants to go again, though, because Lutfi's got a flicker and the Daytona's welcome set up. He doesn't have many stacks. He's going to throw out the rockets here.
Eats up Ogwen. Answer with a Feathered Airstrike. That is a Shifting Skies lightning form by Flap. Lutfi put down 1/8 of his health. Keldra trying to do the same Kyrie was doing with the base, except on that lower inhibitor, does not find it. Falcons still keeping their eyes on the prize. At least we can say that the Philippines' last representative is just on point, keeping it on lockdown when it comes to the defense.
They holding on, man. They have to. Again, even staring down this lead, this deficit that Falcons is against, almost 10,000. You know, they've only got a couple turrets that are down on the map to work with. They're nearly down to the last base turrets here to stand for Falcons. And honestly, all these team fights have just been Onic throughout it. There's been a moment where you might be able to catch 1 or 2, but Falcons just doesn't have it just doesn't seem like they have the ability to win these team fights just yet, unless something goes really wrong here for Onic. There's so much vision provided that Onic can just kind of take into this, because you know, you have control across the jungle. Your Lord's coming up here in 15. I would be surprised if Falcons tries to contest it.
Realistically speaking, the best thing that Falcons can hope for is a pickoff off of Onic, but wait. They do force Ogwen here to back off. I think he held on to his Purify, so he is fine. I think Onic are also looking for Falcons to slip up. They're looking for them to, you know, waste an ult here, waste a battle spell here, to confirm this Lord and to confirm the end. Detna's welcome answered by a Requiem here. Wings by wings back. So a couple of ults spent already, as well as the Feathered Airstrike.
Those are big ults that are expended by Falcons. I don't think you want to be anywhere near this Lord.
Whoa, big knockup on Lutfi once again. He answers with Detna's welcome. Golden Hour trying to save that one target. And there's a Shifting Skies pushing back and splitting up Onyx attack. And they find Kelra, forced to back off. And now it's Lutfi up next. How has Falcons done this? He goes for the freeze, winner crowd, Feathered Airstrike, and a big knockup by Kyle. Kelra falls. Straight up for Flap. Sans goes down as well. 2 for 1, make it 3. Yeah, Marco chasing Kyrie. And the wind of nature saves bulletproof Marco now inside the base. Kyrie wants to end it. He sees the base exposed to a couple minions.
Oh, he picks up my mortality.
And now we go back to neutral. Ogwen looking to stop Kyrie from taking any more from Falcons. The ending tally 3 for 1, but the Lord is still inside Falcons base.
Okay, that was a fight that Falcons ends up getting under their belt. They got to deal with this Lord. It's going to be cleared out. Good thing for Haji and Super Marco to be up there. Again, they're slowly but surely getting into a fighting position, but man, did that take some work. And also, some mistakes made by Onic into that one. I mean, they I guess they just, the golden hour threw them off. Even though the feathered airstrike came back off cooldown, that really helped Falcons. They got caught by Kyle's spatial migration, Requiem combo. So that'll keep Onic in check.
Joseph, for the first time in about maybe 10 minutes, Kyle was able to taste the purple, and it was one he stole away from Kyrie. What's the most impressive out of this is the fact that no purifies were spent by Falcons. So that means they were in the right spot at the right time for their positioning to matter and for them to split Onic up like that. If this happens once more, if this is replicated some way, somehow by Falcons in this Lord pit spawning in the upper quarter about a minute and change from now, then say goodbye to this lead. I think that puts us at deadlock.
Yeah, it might just do that, and that's why now Onic, they need to be a little more cautious on how they approach these fights. Obviously, you can see Super Marco online now on the Claude. You know, the ability to hold on to these purifies are crucial for Falcons to flip this game over. They've done an amazing job holding on to the 2 base turrets, too, that they had to. Again, even seeing 2 Lords being secured by Onic, they only lost that 1 base turret they maintain here. Now, they still have some time to go ahead and do something before this next Lord comes up, but that's why Onic is just kind of playing the patient game.
Yep. Onic are on Overwatch right now. You make the wrong move, get in range, in the wrong spot, and it's over. It's a pickoff, and then next thing you know, Falcons can't even contest, can't even leave their base. So they're sending bodies here to try and confirm a slow push on this tier 1 down bottom. Onic knows this. Onic knows this. It's just they don't want to risk it yet because it's so close. Oh, what is this? Ogwin. All right, he holds on to his Purify.
He did get the Thundering Wrath out here, so ultimate use, but again, that's short cooldown up to this point too. Suns will have that back up before they maybe commit to this Lord. A Guardian Helm picked up too by Kyrie again. You know, he hasn't died. He's very elusive. 10-0-2. Picked up the Immortality earlier on the runaway, but now this Lord is up. Again, forget the gold lead that Onic has. Falcons can fight this through. Kyle's going to jump forward, just checking out that bush. He sees Kyrie. Oh, so now it's fighting for the space around this Lord here.
Here we go. Some warning shots out of Marco on a Lutpi. Lutpi chunked down about a quarter of his health. Sets up.
Oh, Loopy.
Finds one. Answered by both. A feather airstrike gets them both, but Kyle falls first. Golden hour. In comes the rest of them. Shifting skies, but look at this from the side. Kelra and Marco dueling guns versus fist. Oh. And they are so close taking down Flap. In comes Kyrie. Flap with the dash and back gets taken down. 2 out of the picture. For Falcons, Onic can smell blood in the water.
They want to take down the base turrets now. Super Marco had to pop his Win of Nature with the pressure from Kelra onto that fight. So now backs against the wall. They want to stay in this game.
Feathered airstrike. Finally, mid lane inhibitor falls. Circling Eagle by Keyboy. Minutes away.
Oh,
seconds, possibly from the end. And there's way too many minions. Onic have delivered sweet revenge. This one's for M5. Sweeping Falcons.
Who would have thought it would have been a sweep for Onic? But they made it happen. Game 3 took a little bit longer, but still clean as ever. And this one was definitely Onic time.
This confirms Onic's 3rd place finish and a difference of $100,000 in the bank for both teams. GG, well played, the team of Falcons of PH.
Man, again, for the Falcons fans out there and the Filipino fans rooting for that last representative of MSC from the Philippines. Tough loss here to see that just kind of unfold the way that it did, but as has been MSC, you know, this year, probably the biggest and most surprising MSC we've had. And even this one, you know, this series, when a lot of people thought this would potentially be the grand final, well, you know, I don't know if Falcons was ready for this. Onic definitely came in with a game plan. They executed it very well. I feel like even Falcons tried adjusting game to game to game, but unfortunately, it was just a little bit too late in this one. Leo, this one definitely could have been a case where maybe they turned it around enough, maybe they got a game under the belt, but Onic really responded well. Kelra was a big part of this. Again, getting that Win of Nature, putting that pressure on Super Marco, as Super Marco was the main point of contention for Falcons in these fights, but it's just too much to deal with, I guess, from Onic.
Onic just had that much of a lead that they were able to use that space and time to be able to get into better positions to threaten Falcon's imminent comeback. If this game lasted maybe 5 minutes longer, then maybe we would be going into game number 4. But as it stands, Onic are locked in and they want history to go a certain direction. Already we're entering an age of uncertainty and massive change in MLBB Esports. What more, a flip on the script from the M5 World Championship.
And I think, you know, as we saw this one unfold, history will rewrite itself later on. But right now, we're going to throw it over on stage with Rose and I believe Kelra for an interview.
In this third placer match, Onic comes out on top in a sort of rematch up against Team Falcons Philippines. And of course, right now on stage, we are with none other than the gold standard, Kelra. Hello, Kelra. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, Kelra, let's talk about this. Last year in Riyadh, you were in the same exact position where you were in the third placer match. This is a back-to-back match. And after that match, you told me and you told a lot of people, I don't want to be in that situation anymore. What happened today? Why are you back here?
Tagalog na?
Go ahead.
Sinabi ko na ayoko na maglaro ng third battle per third uli, and last year and ngayon sasabihin ko uli yun na ayoko na uli maglaro ng battle per third dito sa AWC, and papangako kong hindi na maulit tong nangyari sa amin ngayon.
Kelra said that yes, last year he did tell me that he didn't want to play for the Battle of Third anymore. This year, although unfortunate, he had to play for the Battle of Third once again. But he said he is making a promise to everybody that this will be the last. And you know what? Maybe next year it's going to be in the Grand Finals, no? Maybe next year it's Grand Finals?
Let's see.
Okay. Now let's talk about this matchup because we know it's like a rematch for Onic and Team Falcons Philippines, like a M5 rematch, right? M5 Grand Finals. How do you feel about beating a Filipino team here, you know, in MSC at the third placer match?
Malungkot na masaya kasi dito, yung ina-expect ng mga tao sa nung una sa yung magtatapat is kami ng Falcon sa Grand Finals nga lang. Kaso ito, battle per third eh. And wala rin nag-expect talaga na makakapasok yung TS and YG, and sobrang galing talaga nila. Wala kami masabi sa performance ng Yangon and TS. Magaling talaga sila.
Now, Kelra actually said no one expected this to happen. Of course, he feels mixed emotions. He's happy that he won. At the same time, he's a little bit sad that he had to beat his fellow Filipino brothers on the other side. And of course, they expected this matchup in the Grand Finals, and yet they are here battling it out for the third placer match. He did, however, say, though, that Yangon Galacticas and Team Spirit both deserve their Grand Final slot because they're just so good. They have nothing to say. Now, you mentioned both YG and Team Spirit, who in a few moments' time will be playing in their first ever Grand Finals. What does that say about the MLBB ecosystem as a whole?
Siguro parang nag-ano yun na kumbaga hindi naman end of PHR, kumbaga lahat talaga ng team kailangan mo respetuhin and kailangan pag-aralan.
Kelra said that not having the Philippines or, you know, the Big Three region in the Grand Final does not mean it's the end of the Philippine era. But it's more towards the teams actually need to start respecting other regions more, those underdogs, because at the end of the day, they can actually give a surprise. And that's what's happening later on. So, Kelra, what's next for you?
GOF.
That's it, GOF?
Yeah.
What are your expectations for your next tournament then?
Mas ina-expect ko na mas magpe-perform kami sa GF muna kasi yun yung pinakamalapit na tournament namin, and ina-expect ko sa team namin na magiging aral sa amin yung mga nangyari dito sa AWC.
For his next tournament, obviously, he has one coming up really shortly. So he's expecting to learn from their mistakes here and apply to their future tournaments to hopefully gain better results. So Kelra, any message to the fans who are here supporting you guys? I see so many Sonics, Onic fans here in Paris. It's like home ground for you guys. And of course, those that are supporting you back at home online.
Sa mga sumusuporta sa amin, maraming salamat. Sa mga pumunta na mga nag-effort na Indonesia and Pilipinos, sa lahat ng mga pumunta dito ay nag-effort. Maraming salamat sa suporta nyo, and yun lang.
He said thank you to everybody who came down to the arena, came down to Paris to support, Onic and of course their journey here at the MSC at EWC 2026. Thank you as well to those who are supporting online. And any words for your family?
For my family, I really miss na ko na kayo.
He misses them. Thank you so much, Kelra. I hope to see you on the next tournament once again. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Onic finishes at the 3rd place here at MSC at EWC 2026, ending their journey. Thank you very much. With that, let us show it to the panel.
The Sonic representation here in Paris. It's been electric, as it should. The yellow and black have filled our stands at the Lenovo Legion Gauntlets, and now they've fully got something to celebrate. $100,000 in the pocket for Kelra and his squad. The gold standard earn a little bit more money when it comes to standardized gold prices, that's for sure. Heading back to our panel, guys, it's a 3rd place match that doesn't give us too much